And welcome back to the EU LCS. We are moments away from Fnatic taking on H2k. But before we get to the game, I've taken a moment or two to catch up with Youngbuck to talk about the news today. Of course, Rekkles is not playing. We've seen all the messages in the tweets. Fnatic have been saying that it was a strategic decision. Can you explain to me a little bit about what the strategic reasons were as to why Rekkles isn't playing?
After our last week's performance, we really wanted to go back to playing a standard style. And with that also came a lot of scouting of other regions. And what we found out is that a lot of top laners are being played in the AD carry position. So when we discussed champion pool with Rekkles, he was the one who suggested to actually try out Bwipo in the AD carry position, because he felt that if we are going to play a player who has already played hundreds and thousands of matches with these champions, it would be much better for the team than for him to actually have to learn like 5 new champions.
That's really interesting. And of course, talking about, Rekkles bringing it up, the question that I've seen a lot over the last sort of, 24 to 36 hours was about whether Rekkles benched himself or whether it was the, coaching staff that said this is the best decision. So, where does that sort of lie?
So like I just mentioned, Martin did indeed come up with it himself, and we actually accepted it. It made a lot of sense, because for him to train 6 new champions in a week is very difficult to do for any player. So we scrimmed with both Rekkles and with Bwipo, and the results were good. So we decided we were going to try Bwipo at least one of the games, and initially we were going to do it against Vitality, but then Martin actually really pushed for, hey, I think you guys should do it against H2k, and if it works, we can evaluate again for Vitality. I
mean, that's really good to know. Of course, you're about to play H2k, so let's step away from the news on the roster, now knowing that Bwipo is going to be down the bottom lane and we've got sOAZ in the top lane. What is the plan going into this matchup against H2k?
Well, we're going to play champions that both sOAZ, Caps, and Bwipo are good at, and that can be flexed throughout the draft.
Okay, so
that's pretty clear.
The same that we've seen on every other pick in bed so far.
Yeah, of course, there's a lot of nervousness though, because this is something that not many teams have done, especially in Europe. So if it goes wrong, it can go very wrong. Yeah,
definitely. Luckily, week 2 of the split is the time to experiment. Thank you so much for giving me the insights, and good luck with the game.
Thank you very much.
All right, back to you, Drakos, and the rest of the boys.
Thank you very much, Quickshot. Now, I love it. I love the mentality and the attitude. Hey, a lot of stuff can go wrong. This can definitely backfire. That's true because you've got, all these flex champs. It's also true because you're not playing Rekkles. Let me tell you, when the Fnatic fans see a game without Rekkles be a loss for Fnatic, they're going to look at him, they're going to look him straight in the face, and they're going to go, what are you doing?
But it's one of those great situations where you have like plausible deniability. We're just like, hey, when you look at this rationally, this makes sense, guys. Top lane champions in the bot lane, get a top lane. And if it doesn't work out, you can be like, we tried. We put Bwipo down. He's not a bot laner. At least we gave it a go. They have so much plausible deniability here that you can't fault them. There's no wrong turn for Fnatic.
So do you want to talk a little bit about why these changes are coming out? Of course, you heard champion pool, but also when we take a look back at Fnatic in week 1, we talked about it 1-1 record at the start of the day, but what really went wrong here?
Well, I think one of the big issues was that they concentrate a lot of their resources onto Caps, and I felt like that a lot of teams came into the week very prepared for this kind of funnel strategy. We've seen a variety of different ways to kind of combat it, but one of the biggest issues that Fnatic had was sacrificing their side lanes. They drafted so many supports that many of their opposition just drafted hard-winning bots, and then they used those hard-winning bots to invade, get control, and as a result, Fnatic constantly fell into massive early game deficits.
And when I hear that they're bringing Bwipo into the bottom lane, that means we're not seeing the Janna, we're not seeing the Karma. We're going to see him stepping up more on a little bit of
pray.
I keep trying to tell myself that, right? Try to say it enough times and it'll become true. But alongside Caps too, huge carries for Fnatic.
Absolutely want to see it now. I want to take a look at the opposite side as well. Their opponent's H2k, I think. Also a similarly rough start. Fnatic, of course, coming out on top after a surprise Baron. H2k weren't quite as fortunate. 0-2 in week 1. What were the issues for them compared to Fnatic?
Right, they were drafting for the late game similar to Fnatic. I think it was a very similar story, even though they weren't running the funnel strategy. It was more of they drafted for the late game, and then they didn't have much pressure coming out of the jungle position to set them up to actually get to that point.
Yeah, I think that often what we saw from H2k last split was that they won through late game team fighting. Some epic moments like against G2 and against Fnatic as well were just those late game pivotal moments where you saw carries like Selfie and Sheriff really come into their own, but in order to get to that point, you have to enable it with the jungle, which is why my eyes are on Shook to properly set up these carries to be big stars.
Now, gentlemen, we are very close now to picks and bans. I want to hit predictions here quickly. There's a lot to say about this matchup. Ender, I have to go to you first because you're the only person on our team to pick H2k, so I'm going to need some rationale here. What's the justification?
Oh, yeah.
The first one is that I don't know. I can't tell you how well Fnatic are going to play with Bwipo down in the bottom. Hey guys, I love seeing their faces. Foxdrop coming to you guys soon. But alongside that, I do have faith. While there's some confusion for Fnatic not playing with Reckless, for Selfie and Sheriff to step up for H2k.
You're getting too big for your britches, youngin'. It's only your second week in the LCS, and you're suddenly saying that H2k, you're going off the rails, my friend. Fnatic, they've changed up their strat. They knew exactly what went wrong, and this team is very good at adapting. I would be very surprised if this was not a clean game for Fnatic.
Shut him down, Betty. Let him know. Let him know. All right, well, we're going to see if H2k can take down the new Fnatic lineup. Here are our casters for picks and bans.
And welcome to the caster desk, ladies and gentlemen. My name's Quickshot. I'm joined by Foxdrop. Welcome to your EU LCS casting debut, buddy.
I'm really bloody excited because you know I do well.
What's that?
We chat a lot of shit.
Oh, that's the plan. That's exactly what we're looking for. Some good cheeky bants, is that right?
Absolutely, mate. That's what I'm here for.
So listen, we never actually got finalized. Foxdrop, Quickshot, Foxshot. Which direction do we go?
I like Foxdrop, but I heard the old Quickdrop was quite popular as well.
Okay.
Quick Fox actually maybe was one. I heard some
Quick Foxes. You're going to have to let us know. We'll have to make a poll. Maybe we can make it a ready check discussion for tomorrow. But listen, Foxy, we're jumping into picks and bans. We know that Reckless is not on the roster. We heard from Youngbuck talking about the strategy, about these top lane geezers that are getting picked in the bottom lane.
Absolutely.
What champions would you like to see them play?
I want to see them not go for a funnel strategy because you can't spell funnel without fun, which is ironic because it's terribly unfun to watch a funnel strategy. So I want to see them just play a little bit more, well, not meta because, hey, Reckless isn't playing. That wouldn't make much sense. But just something a bit more aggressive. Maybe we saw, like the last game, Mundo really whipped it out on that Ornn. Maybe we get an Ornn going through as well. And that is an insta-lock first pick Nocturne.
Now the question is, where is it going? You know, because
if Vedius has his way,
it'll be mid
lane. That's
and
for
something
sure.
I think Caps actually said last week, if I recall correctly. With Zoe being banned, by the way, she's the only champion that remains 100% presence, picked or banned. Irelia was on the list, as was Lulu earlier today, but both of them have had at least one game unpicked. The Vladimir is the response, and I think we're going to be seeing this throughout the draft. We don't really know where these champions are going.
I mean, it's a double-edged sword. I was thinking about this before I even came to the LCS, that why am I coming in as an analyst / color on a patch where nothing makes sense? Certain expectations of me being able to deliver, but actually there are no expectations.
To be fair,
no one knows anything.
I've watched your streams, mate, and when I was like, nothing makes sense, who's the guy to break down 8-12? Your name was right there.
Wow, that is high praise from you.
Exactly, it is indeed.
It's a slight, well, I don't even know, was that an insult?
You take it as you will.
Either way, it was slightly an insult or slightly a compliment. I will take it.
Well, take a look at the picks and bans.
That probably means that is a jungle Nocturne. Most likely going to be a jungle Nocturne, but we could even see that bot lane Bwipo.
So where would you then put the Mundo and the Irelia? Irelia bot for now?
Well, this is the thing, is we could see that mid. Irelia has historically been that mid lane pick, and so right now it looks like it could be, in theory, we're being very tentative on this patch. It could be an Irelia mid, the Mundo top, the Nocturne in the jungle, but I would not be surprised to see one of those picks moving down into the bot lane.
I guess phase 2 bans might give us a little bit of insight into what direction the teams are going to go. And first one off the table is going to be the Ornn. I'm looking back at some of the previous champions. Bwipo last week played the Singed, sOAZ played the Cho'Gath. Those are some of those other bruiser types that we've seen, and of course Aatrox definitely a flavor of the month, or flavor of the patch, as it were.
And this is the problem with this phase 2 ban, is no one really knows where anything is going. Usually you reserve these bans for the counter picks in the roles that are left open. But what role is left open when everything basically is a flex pick on this patch? So they're just going to get rid of these tanky picks and perhaps assume that Bwipo is still yet to pick his champion, because he could have gone for this Ornn, he could have gone for that Swain in the bot lane. So what I want to see though, and it might be a little bit ridiculous to want to see it, but I want to see a Pyke coming through here from Fnatic. I'd love to see Hylissang on Pyke. He's one of those better playmaking supports, as both Hylissang and Pyke.
Yeah, exactly. Fits Hylissang's playstyle,
yeah,
and the champion fits the kit. I've seen a Vlad Pyke bottom lane several times already, and we're going to get some more spiciness here as Fiora is locked in. So where are you going to put either of these things? Ryze, I've also seen bot lane as well, a fair amount. So it's still anybody's guess. The timer goes down to 20 seconds after the final pick, and then we'll know who's going where.
My impression is that they've picked this Fiora to run into Irelia / Mundo, because it does pretty well. Ah, there's the Pyke,
There
the
you
prophet
go.
himself. Beautiful stuff. I think Fiora's good into both those champions, but hey, even at this point, you kind of got to get a gamble as to which lane is going, like which champion's going into which lane. So where do you stick this Fiora? What matchup are you looking for specifically? And like I think that this draft right now is fairly well balanced, honestly.
All right, let's see what H2k do to round out their team composition. Got a lot of fairly short-range melee champions on the side of Fnatic, but the engage power with Pyke, Ryze, ulti, and Nocturne, how they can synergize is very, very high. H2k round out the draft with that Ziggs, and they got themselves 25 seconds to shuffle around. I don't know, Ryze mid, Irelia bot. What do you think?
It's so tough, honestly. It's such a toss-up. I'm honestly not 100% sure. I'm kind of expecting it to stay like this, just because I would imagine that Caps is a much better Ryze player than Bwipo is.
Yeah.
But Irelia has seen a lot of play in that mid lane, so I would not be fully surprised to see Caps pick it up from that. There you go, from that perspective.
Yeah.
So there it is. They leave it for the last second just to juke out the enemy team. They have to lock in their swaps at 20, so 21, there it is.
So theoretically, this was the meta placements, as in Ryze bot lane with the Pyke, Caps running the Irelia in the mid. But one thing that is very important for anybody that has watched LPL games or LCK games, seeing these champions swapping lanes often, regularly, frequently, is something that happens a whole lot. So brace yourselves, we could see these guys moving in between lanes, Foxdrop.
We also saw that in one of the previous games as well with Vitality when they had the Lulu and the Darius. They were swapping lanes around a lot too. So yeah, we could even within these players seemingly locked in that top lane and the mid lane and stuff, they could move around a little bit as well. And for me though, I would say summoner spells are the biggest indication of where someone's going. If you've got teleport, or more specifically, if you don't have teleport, you're probably not going into that top lane, which is what we're seeing out of Irelia and the Vladimir.
So that'll give us a very clear indication, mid or bottom. And
very clear, I would not say just yet.
We'll play it out. I'm willing to make a prediction. I think I'll put it on the cards. Fnatic and H2k doing battle for game 4 here of patch 8.12. Fnatic, of course, 1-1 after last week's performance, and H2k still looking for their first win in the summer split. Will today be the day? And I guess we're going to find out in a few minutes' time. Minion Dematerializer picked up for Promisq on that Tahm Kench. A couple of stopwatches as well on the kit, so nothing too surprising yet. Also, when I'm looking down the keystone. So which lane would you look at as a jungle main yourself, you know, when you see these comps coming together?
I wish you'd stop leading with as a jungle main, because you're putting certain expectations of me to know what I'm talking about, which, let's be real, I absolutely don't. But I would like to say that you've picked this Trundle, and who is Trundle good at running into? It's the tanks, and Dr. Mundo is obviously the biggest tank on that Fnatic lineup. And Fiora has been picked to run into that Mundo too. So if you play around that Fiora, you can win that split push in the top lane. You can shred those resistances with a subjugate from Trundle. And then Fiora, Smittyj on Fiora can have a much nicer time of things up top. Bramble Vest is a real pain for Fiora, but still, the aim of the game there with that Fiora pick is to win that top side, and you might need a little bit of help to make that happen. So I wouldn't be fully surprised, especially considering the rest of the lanes are a little bit hard to help.
Okay.
Top lane's more of a focus.
All right, we'll keep our eyes then on the jungle pathing as the next few minutes play out. But just before we get to that, I just want to remind everybody of how long it's been since Rekkles has not been on the starter for Fnatic. 286 EU LCS games, 1,378 days since Rekkles was a starter. And obviously with Rekkles at the helm, that's a pretty good win rate. Now the reason, of course, he's not there, if we take a look at some of the stats from week 1, Foxdrop, that Janna and that Karma performance from last week in the current meta, it did not make Rekkles' damage per minute or his effective damage per gold earned particularly good.
How salty do you reckon Rekkles would have been if Fnatic genuinely drafted an AD carry this game? just thought, just Bwipo stick him on the Ez or something like that.
Yep.
I would have been pretty miffed. But as it stands, this is not the Ez. So Reckless is sitting at home. He's a little bit more comfortable. 66 damage per minute is a little on the low side.
Yes,
yeah.
Exceptionally low.
Not that great, honestly. A little bit crap. So not really the performance you're expecting out of someone like Reckless.
Exactly.
But, I mean, he was on the...
With his caliber, with his, but even a Karma in lane will deal some damage. Yeah. So nevertheless, this is the scenario we find ourselves in. Obviously, the damage per gold earned. The number was incorrect first. It was plus 22. It was actually 0.22. Thank you for updating that to our graphics team. And as we take a look, Hylissang is going to find the hook, pull Promisq backwards. They trade some damage. But as it stands right now, there's both of those control mages just waiting to set something up. Whereas Caps trades some damage, gets that Defiant Dance down, and all standard, so to speak, in terms of the H12.
Yeah. Standard is a difficult...
It's a loose term.
A loose term to throw out on this patch, that's for sure. And Shook might be looking to get silent cheeky in this mid lane here as Caps has his wave pushing towards H2k's tower.
Well, got himself his flash. And let's see what Caps can do to outplay. All right, Flawless Duet is available. Let's take a look what he does. Stun will not find a target, but a very good Blade Surge. Gets Caps to safety and really didn't want to risk a potential Ignite transfusion, so he flashes to safety.
Exactly, and that's the flash down from Caps, which always means potential for a revisit, a regank a bit later on. Maybe even post level 6, this will mean that Promisq can roam into the mid lane with his ultimate, maybe get a full-on kind of team-wide gank going in that mid lane, but if nothing else, it also tempers the aggression that Fnatic can put out in that mid, because there's always a chance to get countered, you got no flash, you get screwed. So a nice gank there by Shook. Caps loses his flash.
All right, so let's see how the reganks go. Of course, these Irelias get significantly more difficult to gank as he gets close to level 6. Sheriff will actually get feared. That unspeakable horror sends him away from Broxah. There was no support, though. Bwipo and Hylissang, they weren't in range, so a little bit of an optimistic gank there.
It's so hard to do anything realistically before you're level 6 into this lane, or really any lane, honestly, if you're Broxah. There's not a huge amount of gank setup, and most of the lanes from H2k are pretty safe, honestly.
Yes.
And Nocturne is not picked because he's got these good early game pressure. He's a strong early game champion. That's the distinction that people sometimes forget. He's not weak early. If you run into Nocturne, he will absolutely beat you down, but it's hard for him to force the plays and be more proactive in that sense. And this is something I find a little bit slack, honestly, from H2k's side, is they have pushing lanes in both mid and bot. This should mean that the bot side priority is 100% in their favor. You should not be losing bot side scuttle when you have these pushing lanes. It feels like a bit of wasted potential.
And unfortunately, it means H2k are not going to take advantage of that pressure. H2k have not been a pretty strong early game team really all year long. But if you look at their stats from week 1, on average down 1.8k, no first bloods, no first towers. And that is a trend that H2k have been true of. Actually, if people remember the first time H2k played Fnatic in the spring split, Sheriff played Vayne, they went to super ultra mega late game, and Sheriff carried on Vayne. It was the start of the, Sheriff hype train, so to speak. Not quite the same on Ziggs.
Not quite, but it's at least, it's slightly better than picking the Janna or a Karma or something like that. He has slightly higher carry potential on that champion, and we're 6 minutes into the game now, Trevor, which means that the solo laners are about to hit level 6 as well, and within the next few minutes we might see the game open up a little bit more as his ultimates get unlocked, specifically from the junglers. Broxah with his paranoia, he'll be looking to do something a bit proactive as well, but even Shook, you have that flash down the mid lane. Is that a lane you're going to want to regank, or maybe, like I mentioned at the beginning of the game, is this the time you want to start putting pressure onto that top lane?
Yeah.
So you can get that Fiora unlocked, because now she has her grand challenge. She will be able to start beating this Mundo in the 1v1.
Exactly. Got that Conqueror, got the Tiamat already. Just used teleport back to lane. So Smittyj is looking to get unlocked. And Hylissang, with a very loud Ghost Water there, manages to push down. I want to see what Hyli can do. He's a player that is pretty famous for being on the front line, for better and for worse at times. But I think Pyke is definitely that champion that falls into his play kit, falls into his style. And I want to see if he can find himself some skewers and go fishing for H2k members.
This is going to be a free dragon for H2k, but speaking of being on the front front line, attracting attention in a sense. Hylissang has 2 biscuits in his pocket. And cookies and biscuits, people like those. So if you don't want to draw attention to yourself, it's not a good idea to have those in your pocket.
Yeah, exactly. Especially with a Brit on the caster desk. You're going to have a cuppa up here. You're going to have to...
If there's a cup of tea, so by the way, the worst thing about German hotels, no kettles in the room.
Oh, shocking. I've actually seen travel kettles that a lot of British people fly with in their luggage.
Oh, really?
Which seems insane
I didn't know you could do
to
that.
me. Yeah, like the size of a small water bottle, actually.
I respect that. As an invention, I respect that.
Yeah, you're going to have to look into it. Right?
Absolutely.
You're going to be coming out to Berlin a few more times in the summer split, so get those kettles, Foxy.
I will do my best.
Well, let's take a look. Even in gold, no real gank attempts yet. Shook kind of showed his face, but so did Broxah, in fact, with that unspeakable horror earlier in the game. And the first real serious attempt here is now Caps potentially going top. I'm trying to see where Broxah is. We've got the H2k vision on, so nobody knows on the H2k side either. And obviously Smittyj spots him, so he backs away nice and safely. Not going to put himself at risk.
The thing I'm a little bit disappointed with, Caps' flash was down and they haven't really been able to do too much with it. They didn't punish him for having that flash down, and always feels like a bit of a wasted opportunity. And Broxah is looking for this top lane gank here.
Well, let's take a look.
Ultimate.
Darkness is the call. Broxah's chasing in. There's a lot of damage going down into Smittyj to dial back the excitement. That was a really clean, really easily secured gank.
That's lights out for Smittyj, and that's quite troubling in that top lane when you've picked this Fiora with the specific intention to run into that Dr. Mundo and put huge amounts of pressure in that 1v1 situation, and you do not want to get put behind, I can tell you that much. Like, if this Fiora cannot 1v1 Mundo, it completely nullifies the whole intention of this pick.
Well, let's see what Smittyj can do, because of course Fiora's got that headroom to scale. Will be able to apply some side lane pressure, of course, but there are tools to deal with that. Pyke, Hylissang misses the skewer. Promisq just goes for that devour. Mega Inferno Bomb bounces down, as well as that explosive minefield, just to push this wave in. 98 CS to 85. Sheriff marginally climbing ahead. And Hylissang still sitting on those biscuits. You can see he's a juicy target.
Yeah, absolutely. This CS lead in the bot lane is a bit to be expected, exactly for the reason you're seeing here. H2k are just pushing in, and Shook is having a bit, he's going to boost his jungle proximity stats here, but I'm not quite sure if it's a particularly useful use of his time. Not really going to be able to do too much there. If this was a situation where perhaps there were some TPs involved, maybe you can then set up that dive in the bot lane, but if it's just Shook, it's not going to happen. He walks away, he goes back to farming. This has been a bit of a criticism of Shook that we've seen in his early performances in the summer split, not really being able to do too much. And there it is, a jungle proximity. Not a zero kill, really? Is that actually a stat?
That's correct. So last week, Shook unfortunately not involved in any kills or assists at 15, and of course the jungle proximity is the amount of time that he spends around his laners during the early game.
Maybe that's why he's picked Nocturne a lot. What's Nocturne's E called?
It's fairly low. The unspeakable horror is the
and that is a
spell.
horrifying stat right there from Shook. So maybe that's what he was doing after all. But either way, he's playing Trundle. Not so horrifying. You could call him ugly, but if you've seen that splash art, have you seen that kind of daddy splash art from Trundle?
I have, yes.
You can't call him ugly after that.
No, you absolutely can't. But let's see whether or not Hylissang will be able to find a skewer this time round. Sanguine Pool comes out. I don't think there was any risk there. But look, first items have been picked up. It's a 1,000 gold lead for Fnatic, thanks to the first blood, which, by the way, just as a stat that I'd like to point out very quickly, that was Broxah's first blood involvement this split.
Nice.
There's only been 3 opportunities, right? So it's like 1 in 3, but I'll take it.
It's all right. It's something, and it's good that in this specific game especially, you want to get that ball rolling, and I like the fact that he did it in that top lane, because like I mentioned, you do not want to fall behind against that Fiora. But having this Rift Herald now, I love it when we get early Rift Herald plays, because now the whole kind of game it's so much easier to do punishing plays, if that makes sense. So if you get a kill, suddenly now you can get a tower. If you overextend for something, the towers open up hugely here, and we'll have to see what H2k can do.
Well, let's see what Heli and Bwipo can do. The skewer tagged onto Promisq. Mega Inferno Bomb comes down. Here's the Paranoia, as well as the Whelm Warp. Bwipo's going to jump into Promisq, and that's the engage power we were talking about. Hylissang jumps in there for the kill secure. I think it was the death from below. I wasn't quite sure on the sound effect. Regardless, second kill for Fnatic.
But it's so aggressive from H2k here to be playing that far up when you know you're against a Nocturne with Paranoia, the king of counter ganks, and your jungler's on the top side of the map. But Shook finally looking for his first propagate. No, he's not, never mind.
I mean, this is opportunistic, right? Yes, there's an executioner's calling for Smittyj that's going to help a lot against sOAZ on the ultimate, but this is going to take so much time to get through a Mundo.
But that's
with
the point of the
vest.
subjugate,
Yeah.
you know? That's the whole intention of it right there. And here he goes. So he's whipped down this rip. I can't talk. Here comes H2k.
There's going to be a little boop onto the tower here. Make that a big boop. Drops the mid lane tower to about 15%. Caps dashes in, and Broxah, I think, with a smite or whatever that was, just kills out the Rift Herald. H2k are not done with the siege, Foxdrop.
This tower health means everything and nothing. Schrodinger's first blood tower right here. If they can get it, it's everything. If they don't, it's nothing.
All right, Vanguard's edge is thrown out. Caps is looking for the kill. Takes down Shook. Blade surges forward. Nocturne chasing yet. Selfie's Ignite manages to burn down Caps. It's a 1-for-1. And Schrodinger's tower is both alive and dead as it stands tall for now.
Absolutely. And that 1-for-1, it breaks the siege, which is not too bad if you're Fnatic's perspective right there. But that is a ridiculously low health tower, and that's exactly what I'm talking about here.
Yeah.
This is now where the whole... Okay, it's dead.
There we go. It's Schrodinger's. It's Schrodinger's. It was both alive and dead. But for H2k, that's their first tower.
I forgot that Ziggs does Ziggs things, you know, and just press W and the tower died. But that is first blood tower, like we mentioned, and that is the benefit of getting that Rift Herald and breaking that down. It's the perfect place to get first blood tower because, whoa, okay, that was a bit weird, but Promisq is over the wall.
Promisq's actually been pulled over. Hylissang and Bwipo not necessarily on the same page, but here comes Shook from the north. Hylissang, death from below, jumping down onto Promisq. And of course, the undead pirate will kill the catfish with ease.
That was basically what happened from reverse a little while ago, but oh, here we go, we've got another gank in the top side.
Man, Fnatic are just on fire right now. sOAZ goes golden thanks to the use of the stopwatch. Broxah picks up his second kill of the game. And the tower's going to be under pressure. Shook needs to make something happen here. He's got an assist under his belt, and Hylissang is flashless. Hylissang is getting spotted out, dashes forward, manages to pull the ghost, a skewer onto Shook. Bwipo's running a little bit low on mana, teleport into the top as well as the Realm Warp. Shook is the first target with a burning agony ticking and those infected cleavers slowing Shook's escape. Sheriff is the next target, but here comes Selfie. He's not no ultimate available, no flash available either, and Selfie for the time being is enough to push them away. sOAZ jumps forward. He's got a double cleaver with a slap to the face from the cleaver. Bwipo staying alive, now ignited. He's going to get burned to death. On the left of your screen, Smittyj picks up a kill under the tower. Here comes Caps. There's a party. Everybody's invited. And for the time being, everybody's going to die. It's a double for Caps. sOAZ picks up his third of the fight. And H2k with a delayed ace.
What on earth did we just watch right there? And Broxah wasn't even in the fight. It was topside split pushing. That was ridiculous, one after another, and in the end, Fnatic dedicate less resources to that play and actually come out on top. This was absolutely bonkers here. A little bit, honestly, overforced here from Shook. I mean, it's such a hard lane to gank, especially when you don't have Mercs, but a really, really decent counter gank here with the teleport, and you know this is all going to go really scary from this point on, but I want to focus here on Selfie, who joins this fight a little bit late, but crucially, without his ultimate.
Yes.
Vladimir without his ulti, really not that useful. And like you say, it's a party and everyone's invited. Teleports come through, the Abyssal Voyage came through, and it's just like, Smittyj can pick some things up on the backside, but it's not really going to be enough, and then... Yeah,
Every single time, I just hear this voice in my head, a new challenger appears.
Yeah.
A new challenger appears. A new challenger appears.
It is absolutely insane, and it's just, you know, it's like you're fighting a boss and it has multiple health bars. You get one down, and then here comes the bloody next one, and it's just impossible to win.
I actually think it's like a boss that can summon OP mobs. Every single time, the summon new mob ability.
You know, I know you're a Dishonored fan.
I am indeed. I am indeed.
Have you played the DAO DLC?
No, I have not, unfortunately.
You can do that on that.
Well, there you go. There you go.
And that's exactly irrelevant and relevant at the same time.
It is. Hylissang could fit into that universe with
absolutely.
flawlessly.
Absolutely.
Talking about Hylissang, by the way, 2-1-2. The gold lead for Fnatic is 5k up. They got a Mountain Drake as well. This is looking pretty good for the Fnatic without Reckless today.
Considering Fnatic have not had the best early games, this is a pretty good early game, honestly. A 5k up at 17 minutes. I mean, the impressive thing from what Fnatic's been able to do thus far is that it's not just about kills, even though they're so far ahead on those, and they're out, easy peasy lemon squeezy. It's the fact that they're able to get towers. As we're talking about this, they're getting a tower in the bot side. As that fight happened a while back, Broxah got tower in that top side too. So huge props for Fnatic to be able to do this. And if I can just talk for a little bit longer here, Trevor.
You can indeed, please carry on.
Thank you for your permission. Reckless. It's been like over 4 years since he's been a starter, since he hasn't been.
1,378 days. You do the math. Yeah,
I'm not going to.
Okay, close to 4 years. Yeah.
Really can't be asked for that one, mate. But you would think a hugely tenured player like Reckless would absolutely be having an impact on the shot calling of the team.
Yeah.
And so to be able to have superior macro play, it's quite impressive when you don't have your Reckless.
It really is, and I think we definitely have to point out the fact that, of course, H2k. Definitely one of the teams in 2018 that had a weak early game.
Yeah.
And, you know, Youngbuck in the interview beforehand said we wanted to try it at least one of the games. They were considering it against Vitality tomorrow. I think this is a good start and going to give some experience to the Fnatic squad, who, by the way, are setting up a very typical Fnatic death bush. Paranoia was available for Broxah, who's got his Duskblade of Drakthar as well as Warrior Enchant, by the way, so he is quite literally going to hit like a truck.
He is pretty bloody fed right now, or at least he's... If you're a squisher, you do not want to be caught anywhere near
Fiora or Ziggs, for example.
You basically don't want to be anywhere where this guy could be within half a map's reach of you if you're by yourself. You really, really do not want to be close to him. And look at all the executioners callings and the anti-healing that we're getting through here. We've got Ignites coming through from Hylissang and Caps, and the Bramble Vests from sOAZ, plus the executioners calling as well. Like, they know what they got to do, and right now it's engage.
Yeah, they do. Paranoia's thrown down. I'm waiting to see who gets targeted. It's in the mid lane. They managed to chase Promisq even after the flash. Here comes Cap, blade surging forward. Did not really find anything with that Vanguard's edge. Fnatic, they shut down the support for H2k. They get his flash as well, and it looks like they're going to set up some Baron vision. We're getting close to Baron spawning. We've seen some very early Barons. Medic broke that down in dissecting the numbers earlier, just how impactful the early Barons can be. And it's just... This is just a really great performance from Fnatic. As you said multiple times, with less resources, getting more objectives.
And the playmaking support on Pyke. Hylissang is that kind of player, so he initiates with his little catch, and poor old Broxah whips down the Paranoia. Doesn't even get an assist. At the end of the day, it's 1 free kill for Fnatic. I'm sure he's not too sad about not getting an assist, but either way, I thought I'd point it out, because as a jungler, my heart goes out to you. You put your cooldown down and nothing actually happens, but we do have Baron in play now. Like you mentioned, the early Barons, they have been a thing, and Fnatic are going in again. All
right, sOAZ is going to get some support here from Bwipo. That's going to be enough to shut down Smittyj. He's 1 and 4. Despite having that Ravenous and Executioners, there's just simply not enough damage. Up in the top lane, Caps is now turning onto Selfie. Selfie's already used that Hemo Plague. There's a teleport coming in from, I assume, sOAZ?
It was Bwipo.
Bwipo, there we go. Cancelled it, in fact, so decided not to complete that. And it's just absolute control for the defending champions here in week 2. They get some damage, a Bone Skewer onto Shook. Broxah forced to flash away for his life. Took a little bit more damage than he was expecting. Here comes Bwipo and Hylissang. I'm looking for the skewer, looking for a target. But H2k will not be caught yet. Caps, by the way, waiting in the background, so if anyone sticks around, there's the flawless duet. Vanguard's edge jumps out. There's a dash forward. Here comes Hylissang. Paranoia as well. 1, 2, 3. They're not done yet. Going golden from Promisq, buying some time. Caps gets shut down by Smittyj, but it's simply not enough. Bwipo takes down Sheriff in a 1 for 4. Almost make that a 1 for 5. Bwipo trying to fish for Smittyj. Not going to find him yet. Hylissang and Bwipo, the new duo, they're trying to make the play, and it won't work just yet. So as tanks up, and that's teamwork.
Just when you think Fnatic have bitten off more than they could chew, here comes Caps, and it's 4 kills for Fnatic. And you have to think at this point, you've developed a 10k gold lead when you're going for Baron. And like I say, this is when we've lost the flash from Broxah and from sOAZ, but here's Caps getting a little bit cheeky on the side, and with that Ignite, he burns in the belly of Promisq, and after this, you just collapse. And like you mentioned, the teamwork, trusting each other. Broxah engages without his flash, and it doesn't matter because, you know, you got your whole team there, and this is where you just turn, you burn, you get your kills. Sadly, Caps goes down for Fnatic there. The real hero of the play starts it all, says, don't worry, lads. I'll go down in this one, but it's all Gucci. They get the kills. I'm sure he's happy with that.
10,000 gold lead at 22 minutes. 16 kills to 4. If I look down the kill score, 305, 204, 623. These are some pretty epic kill, death, and assist scores. So Fnatic, they're doing pretty well in the new duo top lane 8.12 meta. And I have to admit, I've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed a drastic shift in what was considered the norm for such a long time.
It's such an entertaining game to watch. Maybe not for the H2k fans, but either way, there's a lot of action in this game, and it is refreshing to see all this like bloodbath going down. And considering both these teams were not known for their strong early games, the fact that we do have a game such as this, 23 minutes in, and I'm wondering here. Okay, so we've had the strong early game. We haven't ended the game yet. How do we end that game?
Yes.
Obviously, the big one on that, exactly. Mr. Naren Basher.
Yeah, exactly.
Over there on the top side of the map. They have to sweep the vision down. Maybe they just want to bait for that vision because H2k at this point, they know that Fnatic want that Baron. They might overstep.
All right, Caps doesn't have teleport and he's in the top lane. Promisq steps forward. Now, to be fair, Smittyj doesn't have teleport and he was in the bottom lane. He's the first one to move. The Bone Skewer comes out. I'm looking at Hylissang as a paranoia. Sends Broxah all the way to the back lines. Bwipo goes forward with the ultimate, and now he turns. That's already a kill. Death from below goes down. Second jump. That's a double kill. Hylissang's not done yet. Looking for the follow-up. There's at least one more from Broxah. And his ulti's on cooldown. H2k are just getting wrecked. Smittyj will get shut down thanks to the Umbra Blades. And now Captain sOAZ will just run down the troll. It's time to troll. H2k get aced again. They have lost a member nearly once per minute. 21 times H2k have died in 24 minutes of gameplay.
And H2k are
brutal.
They're a little bit far behind in this one, but there was always a chance that they could come back into this game if Fnatic went for that Baron play and you have the Vladimir. We've seen that in the previous game, the Vitality game, where Vladimir is really blooming good in these kind of small spaces in these team fights. But that's not going to happen when you just get clean ace and you lose the Baron. And I feel a little bit bad for Smittyj, honestly. He got his... Look at this on the minimap. Look where Smittyj is at the start of this fight. He has to bomb it up here. No teleport, no nothing. Just sticks on his cleats and goes running. And then he just ends right at the end. But a nice initiation from this fight. What are you doing so far up here, H2k?
Yep.
You can't afford to do this. And even though Caps does not have his CP, he'll join the fight before anyone else to get in here, and you're just too far behind. You can't be pushing this far forward, and there it is. One falls, another one falls. There's Smittyj. Oh, he's almost joined the fight. Right, lads, how's it going?
It's a bit late to the party.
Hello? Oh, no,
Foxy, I know you're pretty new to the LCS desk, but do you know what H2k stands for?
Well, I don't know what it's going to stand for after this game.
Because I was under the impression it was hard to kill. And we're about to find out just how disingenuous that title might be. Broxah, by the way, has a Guardian Angel. Paranoia is just about to time out. He doesn't use the secondary active. Smittyj is going to look to proc that passive. The Grand Challenge was issued and answered. Here comes Promisq. Mega Inferno Bomb is going to get blocked by the Shroud of Darkness. Promisq is taking a lot of damage from Caps. Shook and Smittyj are just like, sorry, bruv, you're on your own. All right, Hylissang, dun 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 dun. It's like Jaws 17, chasing from below, and the skewers dashed away from. Smittyj is going to get chased on the left. Shook is going to get chased on the top. Hylissang uses ultimate just to chase him down. And by the way, while all this is going on, sOAZ is just solo killing Chef.
Look at this.
Is he going to go with the burning agony? Oh, man! Cool guys don't even need auto attacks.
Poor Sheriff. Oh my goodness. sOAZ just sticks on his burn, and Seraph does his best baby zombie impression because he is a little dead.
He is indeed. Finally, Shook gets run down. This will be a kill into Sheriff. This will make it 1 kill per minute for Fnatic against hard-to-kill H2k. 26 and 26 and a half. And look, Fnatic is styling. They got a gigantic lead. And they simply outclassed H2k in every lane today.
I feel like everything that H2k wanted to work in this game, nothing of it went well. Absolutely nothing of it went well. This was an absolute travesty from H2k. Fnatic, solid performance.
Embracing the champion pool to its fullest. Fnatic are destroying H2k, picking up a couple extra kills. and Fnatic obliterate H2k.
The roster swap of dreams right there. Bwipo pulling out the Ryze, and Fnatic having their most convincing performance of the Summer Split by far.
Oh yeah, pretty easy statement to make, Foxy. And I agree
Yeah, it's
with
been
this.
3 whole games, and that was a bloody good game.
I just think, you know, Fnatic, they came into the game plan. They played the picks and bans that Youngbuck was talking about. The reason Bwipo was there in the bottom lane, and the execution was flawless. There's a lot to unpack for H2k, who are now 0-3 to start the Summer Split.
That was not the game they were looking for when a Fnatic looked, honestly, a little bit wounded.
Yeah.
The Predators always go for the old, the sick, or the wounded, and look at that. Fnatic were looking a bit like that. It's like that, have you seen that GIF of that dog who's dragging his legs behind and then suddenly stands up? That was Fnatic, honestly.
There we go.
That was summarized in one diff, that's the one.
The thing that's playing on my mind, and I've been thinking about this since 8-11, is where does the meta evolve to? You know, we saw that micro buff for AD items, and I expect ADs to get a little more love, shall we say, to see if we can bring them back to the bottom lane. I would like it if some bruisers could stick around. And Juggernauts in the bottom lane, I think it makes it exciting and interesting. But who benefits? If you lean into the uniqueness of this meta, and let's say normalize and go back to old school, do you come away a stronger team if you embrace this? Or does it hurt you? And that's the question that I can't answer yet.
Firstly, I would say that it's not much of a statement to say we've been thinking about this since 8-11 because it's only 8:27 or so. So that's not really that long to be thinking about something, honestly. I've thought longer about what food to order. But to answer your question more specifically, I think metas, as they come and go, teams obviously have their strengths and weaknesses, but
Yes.
I still think the strong teams rise to the top, the weak teams, they'll sink. Adaptability, it's a tough one for me to say. It is still a hugely important thing to have as a team, and you're still seeing it, you know, the G2s, the Misfits, and now
Yes.
for the Fnatics, they're still looking like the best teams, and
They
it doesn't
played well.
really matter fully on what the meta is. The best teams will be the best teams.
Absolutely the case, and of course, talking about the best teams, we got a replay for you about 15 minutes into the game. It was one of the pivotal moments where Fnatic really started to accelerate the game ahead, and this was, of course, that fight where just everybody started coming except Broxah. He just didn't crack an invite.
Yeah, that would look. I mean, at the start of the fight, Broxah's doing the Krugs for bloody SA, but look at everyone gets involved in this one except the Broxah. It's a complete melee. Multiple TPs come down, the Abyssal Voyage as well. The deafening Pyke comes through, absolutely. Just you have to chuck that one in there. And what, like sOAZ, this is a guy who, there are question marks about this whole kind of Bwipo sOAZ argument. I suppose Fnatic solves it by putting them both in the same game, but sOAZ is just so, he's been playing since like season 1. He played in the World Finals in season 1.
Did for Against All Authority.
Absolutely, the old Frenchy organization, and in this game he whips out his baguette and slaps Sheriff around with it. Just absolutely, just unstoppable on that Mundo.
For me, the kill of the game is absolutely sOAZ just running down Sheriff.
No auto attacks needed.
With Burning Agony and his Sunfire Cape.
Gosh.
I mean, you can just see that gold graph. Around 15 minutes, which is the replay we just watched.
Yeah.
That's that first spike. And then it just continued from there. Gigantic damage dealt by Fnatic to H2k, and a dominant performance for who, you know, the team is the defending champion.
And 66 damage per minute was the old bot lane player for Fnatic, and the highest damage on his team was his replacement. So I would say that roster swap worked pretty well, actually.
It absolutely did. So congratulations to Fnatic. And commiserations to H2k. It's a difficult scenario to be in. Of course, it is the end of the game. We have sOAZ, Bwipo, and Caps fighting to secure player of the game. Head over to LOL Esports on Twitter. Give us your vote. If you had to vote, who would you vote for, Foxy?
Oh gosh, I'd probably say Bwipo just for his. Actually,
don't listen to him. This is favoritism. You're not. Make your own decision, okay?
Yeah, we both have great tattoos.
To get some more insight of the game, let's head over to Pyra and Fnatic's mid laner.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Well, I'm joined by Caps after what was a pretty crushing victory for you guys. And your Irelia was pretty terrifying. Honestly, I kind of want to know, is Irelia broken or are you broken? Because I can't tell.
I think Irelia is definitely a strong champion right now. I think in this game, I mean, the game was a bit of like a fiesta, I guess you can say, because there were so many kills everywhere. So we were just fighting everywhere. We had a lot of strong champions at fighting, so it was kind of what we wanted to have happen, and we got a lot of fights, so we were happy.
Absolutely. Now, it seemed like you guys pretty seamlessly clicked easily with this roster change. Was there a big difference in terms of like the communication, in terms of how you guys were actually calling shots this game without Reckless in the lineup and Bwipo in the bot lane instead?
I mean, there's definitely a difference between playing like standard AD carries and playing like something like Ryze. And this game specifically is like a bit hard to say just because there was a lot of like goofing around because we were so far ahead and we were so strong champions. So we just ran forward, and sometimes someone were like, "Let's go Nash," and then everyone else just kept walking forward. So yeah, we just went forward. There was not a lot of communication. It was just forward.
Fair enough. Well, I suppose that if necessarily the roster change didn't make too much difference in communication, the way this meta has been with everything so crazy, how has it changed your guys' approach to games and planning strategies?
I mean, obviously, the whole thing is completely different. Like, even though we don't even playing Reckless, it's really weird right now. I think the general draft is that we play the same kind of champions in top, mid, and AD carry right now. So we just kind of pick a bunch of champions, and then we don't really know what's going where. But sometimes Bwipo has the Irelia, sometimes sOAZ has, you know, it's just a bit all over the place.
So you don't really know until game time who's going to actually step up. And it seemed like everybody did. They were mentioning player of the game candidates. You're certainly up there. Who would you give the player of the game to if you could choose?
It's a bit hard one. I think I would probably give it to Broxah. I mean, he got the Nocturne, which is a bit balanced champion right now. Every time you press ult, you kind of get a kill. So, but you know, he pressed ult, so congrats to him.
He got the kills. All right, well, congrats on the win, GG Caps, and well, I guess we'll see you guys tomorrow. Now, we are going to go ahead to a quick break, but don't go anywhere. When we return, our final game of the night is Misfits versus Splyce. We'll see you in 3.5.
Opportunity, and Broxah is looking for this top lane gank here.
Well, let's take a look.
Ultimate.
Darkness is the call. Broxah's chasing in. There's a lot of damage going down into Smittyj to dial back the excitement. That was a really clean, really easily. But here comes Selfie. He's not no ultimate available, no flash available either. And Selfie, for the time being, is enough to push them away. sOAZ jumps forward. He's got a double cleaver. Screen Smittyj picks up a kill under the tower. Here comes Caps. There's a party. Everybody's invited. And for the time being, everybody's going to die.
Nice kill. Good job, Broxah.
Good job.
Nice. Good job.
Fnatic, solid performance.
Embracing the champion pool to its fullest. Fnatic are destroying H2k, picking up a couple extra kills, and Fnatic obliterate H2k.